Dr. Lee, thank you. This is Steve Buray, the president of Discovery Institute, and our first question is from a gentleman named George Gilder.
Well, you've experienced both economic environments.
Let me make sure the microphone is on.
Is it?
Okay, go ahead, but speak right into it, George, so that he can hear.
You've experienced both the U.S. and China entrepreneurial environments. Do you have any advice for us that based on China or any insights about the differences that in your life after Google?
Yes, certainly. Well, I think in my previous book, AI Superpowers, you're all welcome to go to Amazon and get that. I describe what's unique about the China entrepreneurial ecosystem. Very clearly, the US education and the attraction of global immigrants makes US the highest IQ, most creative, most out-of-the-box innovation, and most tolerant of people who can think different. People like Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, who may have more trouble in a more traditional country. That's what US, I think, is tremendously strong in. The China's opportunity comes in threefold. First, China has a huge market, rapidly growing, so many people. Secondly, China has, the young Chinese people for the last 30, 40 years have had such hunger for success that they work incredibly hard, that they are from families with 20, 30 generations of poverty. This is their chance. Their parents expect it, they want it. The hunger, the hard work, the dedication is the second element. I think the third is that in the last at least 20, 30 years, China has had an environment where the entrepreneurial approach has been tenacious. That is winner take all. In relative terms, Silicon Valley is pretty gentlemanly. That is, if you look at the field, let's say food, companies like DoorDash and OpenTable and Yelp and Groupon, and Uber Eats, they peacefully coexist and even cooperate. In China, the approach is this is a gladiatorial fight to the death. Each company will want to own the food industry, and the outcome is a platform emerges. The Chinese food platform called Meituan is worth probably at the height, maybe 300 or 400 billion US dollars, much, much larger than the US equivalent. And the convenience is phenomenal. I can order from 3,000 restaurants delivered to my home in usually 10 minutes, at most 30 minutes, and the food is still hot. And the entire network has, everything optimized. So delivery charge is only 60 cents. The cost to the company, which is dramatically higher in the US. And that don't have time to go into the details, but when you have a giant platform, this kind of economies of scale and convenience emerges. So I guess the input to the US would be sometimes maybe consider going for the moon. Don't be too complacent. If you look at apps like YouTube or Snapchat or Pinterest, they look the same year after year. They look the same 10 years ago. If you look at a Chinese app, under tremendous competition, they're forced to push new things, understand users, differentiate, grow their user base, add adjacent capabilities. So it's continuous thinking, live under paranoia. So I think Silicon Valley can benefit from a little bit more paranoia, dream big, winner take all kind of thinking. But at the same time, I think still the core strength in the US is the breakthrough thinking, finding the more Steve Jobs, Elon Musks, and the brilliant scientists, and using the global immigration power, right? I mean, China has the Chinese people, US has people from every country. So I think those are the key things, is to use US's natural advantages, all the brain power, but also consult, and the Chinese approaches that seem to have worked in a different way.
Thank you. We have another question.
Kai-Fu, it's Matt McElwain from the Madrona Venture Group. It's good to see you, and thank you for your talk. I really enjoyed it. And I particularly enjoyed the first section around natural language processing and the opportunities that lie ahead. You talk about these competitive worlds. There's this whole world of generative pre-trained models, GPT, what OpenAI has been doing with GPT-3, GPT-4. This feels like a battleground that's just emerging, not just within the world of OpenAI and its backing from your former employer, Microsoft, but Google and others. How do you think about that space? How do you expect it to evolve, including the role that some of the players in China might be investing in?
Yeah. Yes, the natural language capabilities are largely enabled by the self-supervising training from a huge amount of data to create gigantic models from which to fine-tune to particular applications. So we are investing big in this area. So there are a couple of things. One is obviously there is a big advantage to companies that have huge amount of computation power. It can cost $100 million to buy a machine and maybe $20 million to train one time a huge model. So I think companies like Microsoft, Google have an advantage. China has also built these giant models and they work comparably. So that's kind of one good and bad thing packaged together. Another implication for us is we seriously need better computing architecture because GPUs improve 1.5 times a year. NVIDIA is brilliant, but that's all they improve. And the top AI applications year over year require 7 times more computing. So we're completely out of whack. We really need quantum and quantum inspired approaches and also look at these new architectures that combine memory and computation and IPUs and TPUs. We got to do something because we can't get ourselves to a place where only $1 trillion company can afford to train giant models because that's not good for the entrepreneurial or academic world. The last point I would make is I think there is a future for smart companies that can dramatically reduce the size of these giant models and make them commercially viable. And in fact, our most proudest investment this year is in a company called Langboat. And they've reduced the model by 1,000-fold and still beating the original model, thereby making these GPT-3 capabilities are able to run on more ordinary computers. So those are kind of our investment takeaways.
Dr. Lee, thank you. Are there any other questions? If not, I want to say 2 things. First of all, you are always welcome to join us at a future COSM conference in person. We'd love to see you in person next time. But you have joined us virtually, and your staff, Melody, Daniel, and Reese Durden, have been very helpful to us.